John says, Bradley, what service do you recommend to create backlinks to my PR? Well, I guess it depends. I recommend using highly relevant topical links for press release stuff. If it is for a local business, you could also hit a press release with some geographic links or links with local relevance. That should absolutely help, because I've not actually done a lot of testing with that, believe it or not. I've done a lot of testing with topical links, but not with geographic links to press releases. That, as a matter of fact, I'm going to make a note of that. That's something I should be testing, and I haven't yet. So just give me 1 second, guys. I'm writing this down. Links for PRs. Yeah, that's something I will test. It'll be weeks before I have any results, but I would say linking to, if you're using press releases the way that I recommend, which is for pushing, well, it's for branding and for promoting maps, Google business profiles, to help kind of push maps rankings. Those are the two ways that I use them: for branding and manipulating brand search, and also for maps ranking, because of the very specific way that I use press releases. Although it's interesting, that's funny, because like I said, I haven't done a lot of geo link building to press releases to see if that produces a better result, and it likely would. My assumption is it would, but I've not tested that yet. So, but what I usually recommend is topical links to the press release. Also, if you have like Press Advantage, which is what we use, or any of the better press release companies should offer some sort of like a media room or organization room or some shit where you can hit that kind of which is basically like an index page that lists all of the press releases published for that organization or that company. That's one of my favorite targets to hit with backlinks, because then, topical links, like I said, is what I've mainly done for that. But because if you power up the organization page, every time you publish a new press release, it's going to benefit from the relevance and link equity, the strength that you've built to that organization page, instead of it on an individual press release level. So in other words, you can stretch your link building dollars further, or get more, it's more cost effective to build links to like the organization or media room page, because it will automatically power up new press releases that are published, if that makes sense, instead of having to always build links to individual press releases. That said, if you were planning on using, like a press release that you want, a single press release that you want to build links to, I recommend doing a premium press release for that, and then building links to one of those premium press release publications, if that makes sense, to where it's published on one of the premium providers like Yahoo Finance or Globe Newswire or whatever, if that's clear. A couple of things though, because somebody asked me this in our mastermind or in a webinar. It might not have been our mastermind, but anyway, somebody asked me about this a couple of weeks ago and said, well, what is your favorite link building target from the press release distributions? And I always prefer to build link to Press Advantage, which is the service that I use, to the press releases and the media room that are on the Press Advantage domain. And there's a reason for that. Even though the premium press release distribution pickups outrank the Press Advantage pickup for sure, or the Press Advantage URLs, almost always they outrank it. The reason I like to build the links to the Press Advantage domain, or the press release published on Press Advantage or the media room or both, is because those are, first of all, do follow links, or they can be. You can set them to no follow or do follow, but I always set them to do follow. And number two, because it's not going to purge, right? They stay there. Now, some of the other press release companies you got to be careful about, or the pickup points, you got to be careful because they purge. And so if you build links to an individual release that gets deleted after a set amount of time, whatever that may be, then you've just wasted all that. I mean, you might have benefited from it while it was live, but you basically wasted those resources once it gets purged. The kind of workaround for that is you could always build links to a redirect URL that you set as the destination, or the target URL is the press release that you're trying to power up. And then when it purges, you can, as long as you're using a redirect that you have the ability to edit, you can always go back and swap out the target or destination URL with another press release or another target altogether, if that makes sense. But I always recommend going with relevance to those. I mean, depending on the publication, like I said, if you're going to be using something like if you're going to be hitting a press release from like a premium press release distribution or pickup that has a no follow link, then you can hit those with bulk kitchen sink spam. I always called it kitchen sink spam because we throw everything at it, including the kitchen sink. You know what I mean? So that so again, it just always depends. When people say, well, what kind of links would you build to? It depends. I don't ever recommend, I mean, I'm not going to say I don't ever. I rarely recommend ever using bulk spam because I don't like to use bulk spam. But in certain cases, in certain properties, and if it's a no follow link that's coming from the property that linking to my target or money site, then bulk spam can still work. It's been probably a year since I've done any bulk spam testing, but I know last year I did some in our mastermind and shared the results, and I was still able to get results with spamming like patch.com classified announcement post, which is straight up blog comment spam, and it still works. At least it did a year ago. So it'd be interesting to test that again to see if it's changed as much as I'm assuming it's probably not nearly as effective now as it was a year ago, but I don't know because I don't do a lot of bulk spam link building. So anyway, I recommend just picking one of the best which pickup or publication do you want to build the links to? I like to benefit from the links that I build. So that's why I prefer to do the Press Advantage because it's permanent and they're follow links. So I will benefit from the links that I build to the PR or the organization room. It's going to flow through to the target assets. But like I said, if you're just trying to rank the press release, then find one of the, a premium press release is good for that. And then pick one of the premium distributions that has a no follow link and just hammer that with bulk spam. And that's another way to get it to rank. But also, guys, you can run traffic to press releases. That's a good way. Press releases it's not something that will last long term. But if you run CTR traffic to a press release, especially like right after it's published, you can get away with ranking press releases a lot of times with just traffic signals for a period of time. They have a shelf life because press releases are intended, like by nature, to be news. So they have a shelf life, right? They don't last forever, or typically. So what I'm saying is, if you're spoofing traffic to a press release, then that's kind of a quick hack to get press releases to rank and stick on page one for a period of time. But again, it still will wane over time. So just to be clear about that. David says bulk spam still works. That's great, David. I mean, I haven't tested with it in forever. I assume it still does on high domain authority or DR type sites and things like that. Like I said, I don't typically do any bulk spam anymore, but that would be worth doing a little testing too. So let me make a note of that too. I might even actually set up, there's a couple tests that I could set up for our mastermind members specifically that I would share in the mastermind about that. Geolinks for press releases and also bulk spam testing. I got a couple of new Google business locations in the last week too. So I might even set up a test or two on one of those.